Okay, today we're going to learn about adding and subtracting polynomial functions. So if you didn't print out the notes, which you do not have to, make sure that you take out a piece of paper and you have a calculator open on a screen next to you, or maybe you have one on your phone, so that we can practice and learn how to add and subtract polynomial functions. So to add or subtract a polynomial function, you're going to be given two functions. One will say f of x, one might say g of x. These can be any letters, but they're going to be two different letters. You're going to be asked to either add or subtract the functions. The notation is this here. So the top line means that we're going to add them. The bottom two sets of notation are just two fancy ways of saying that we are going to subtract the functions. All you're going to do is add or subtract the polynomials that are given to you. Again, this here is your notation. It looks confusing, but I promise it's very easy. So let's work on a couple of examples. So if we look at the first example, we'll call this number 1. It says find f of x plus g of x. So all we have to do is look at what's given to us. My f of x is really this right here. So I'm going to write down x squared plus 2x minus 8. Then it says I'm going to add. So I'm going to make sure I put a plus sign. And then it says g of x. My g of x is this function here. So I'm going to put that underneath. If you remember, when you learned how to add or subtract polynomials, your teachers should have told you that you line them up vertically. Now that I have them lined up, I'm going to add. This is an x squared, and so is this. All I'm going to do is add 1 plus 3, and I get 4x squared. If I look at the second set of like terms here, 2x minus 7x is negative 5x. And if I look at the last column, or the last like terms, negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3. So this is my answer. If I look at the second example, this one says find f of x, and if we notice here, it says minus g of x. So again, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look, what's my f of x function? That's this blue one here. So I'm going to write that down, x squared plus 2x minus 8. Now again, the directions say, or the question says, that we're going to subtract g of x. So my g of x is the red one, because here it says g of x is that. So 3x squared minus 7x plus 5. Again, I am subtracting because it says to subtract. So depending on how you like to do your math, some kids like to do keep, change, where they would change the minus to a plus and then change every sign after. So here I have 1 plus negative 3. That's negative 2. I have 2 plus 7. That's 9. And I have negative 8 plus negative 5 is negative 13. So now that is my answer. Okay, we'll try a couple more. Again, here it says find f of x minus g of x. So the first thing I want to do is what is my f of x function? That's this. So I'm going to write that down. 5x squared minus 2x minus 1. From that, I'm going to subtract my g of x. So again, my g of x function is this right here, because it tells me g of x equals that. So I'm going to subtract that. So minus 3x squared plus 2x plus 3. Again, I like to do keep, change when I'm subtracting. So I'm going to keep the top, change the minus to a plus, and I'm going to change everything after it. Again, now I have like 3 sets of like terms. So 5 plus negative 3, that's 2. Negative 2x plus negative 2x is negative 4x. And negative 1 plus negative 3 is negative 4. That's my answer. If I look at the next one, again, the first thing we want to do is look at the symbols. It's a very easy concept, but this, again, is a concept that kids make minor mistakes if they rush. That right there says plus, so I know I'm adding. So the first function that I'm going to grab is the f. So the f is the blue one. So I'm going to write down 5x squared minus 2x minus 1. I know I'm adding. And the second function is g, that's 3x squared plus 2x plus 3. I add them. 5 plus 3 is 8. Again, we only add the numbers. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So in this case, if you want to, you can write plus 0x. If it's a multiple choice question, this will be missing. And then negative 1 plus 3 is 2. So my answer is that. Again, if you're taking a test, I would give you credit for 8x squared plus 0x plus 2, or 8x squared plus 2. If you get to an upper level math class, they might only give you this option. Now, the last example, if we wanted to make this a little bit more difficult, we'll put fractions into it. So if we zoom in a bit here, again, the first thing, it gives me 2 functions. Again, in this case, it gives me an a and a b. So all that really tells me is that I have to be careful. My a is the blue one here, and then my b is this red one here. So if I wanted to write this down, it says a of x, so 3/2 x squared minus 2/3 x minus 3/5. And we're going to subtract, so we're going to minus. And then we're going to write the b function, 1/2 x squared plus 4/3 x plus 6/5. When we add them together, again, here's where your calculator is going to come in handy. Once again, I do like when I'm subtracting to go keep, change, change. So I'm going to keep this, I'm going to change this, and I'm going to change everything after. So now you might want to take out your calculator. Quick review from when you learned how to work with fractions. When you're using your calculator and you have fractions, parentheses are your friend. So you want to make sure that anytime you're using your calculator and you're using fractions, you use parentheses. So here, if we use our calculator, 3/2 plus negative 1/2. On your calculator, use the parentheses. If you get a decimal, hit math, enter, enter. You should get 1. So we're going to write 1x squared. On your calculator, if you have negative 2/3 and we want to minus or add negative 4/3, sorry, and we hit enter, we get negative 2x. And then for the last column there, we've got negative 3/5, and we're going to add negative 6/5. And when I did it on my calculator just now, I got negative 1.8. If I hit the math button, and then I hit enter, enter, it will convert it to a fraction, and that becomes negative 9/5. Okay? If you have any questions, please email me. I hope this makes sense.